Hey guys, and welcome back to the Divine Witch. I'm your host Debbie, and today we will be discussing Hecate. Some like to call her Hekate, which was her original spelling of her name. Now, I think before we can actually talk about what kind of work you can do with her, what exactly her personality is, I think we need to know a little bit of her history. Now, as far as her history goes, she is in the Greek pantheon, but she is actually originally from the Titan part of the Greek pantheon. She was one who decided with Zeus, and Zeus decided to allow her to have reign over the sky, the sea, and the land, just like he has done. With the promise of her basically doing whatever he needed to be done and helping us mortals out here on Earth when need be. Now, some of you may know her as the Queen of the Night, the Dark Goddess, the one who dwells within. Now, I've looked at a lot of different information. I've been a follower of hers for over 18 years. She was my first deity, and we just kind of stuck together, and we've been together ever since. Now, I'm not saying that I don't work with others, but she is the one I am devoted to. Now, if you look, when she was a Titan, she was one of prophecy, but she was also one of the land and of the sea. It didn't come until later that she became more of the witchcraft queen, the queen of magic aspect of her. Now, another thing which, depending on who you talk to, there's two different ways people see Hecate. Some go by, oh, well, she's a three-faced goddess. You know, she has three faces. That's how she's depicted. But if you look back and you look at enough information, I want to put this to where you're going to understand. Like me personally, whenever I've seen her come to me, whenever I've met other people who've described exactly what I've seen before I even said anything to them, by the way, I'm relighting my incense. She never comes as a three-faced goddess. So, you know, when you see something, you're like, okay, what I see and what I've learned are two different things. So does that mean that's what she thought I was comfortable with, and that's why she appeared that way? Or is there some kind of misconstrued myth? Now, there's a few ways that you can actually see this. Some follow Diana and Selene and Hecate. Then you've got Hecate's mom, you've got Hecate herself, and her daughter. So it really depends on which way you want to see it. And somehow it's become all about Hecate when there's... Hecate for me is one aspect. That's it. I don't have multiple faces for her. I've spoke with her. I've had communication with her. I've worked with her. And this is my own personal experience. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. It's just what I've got. It's what a few of her followers have said as well. What are some of the symbols for Hecate? Now, Hecate has a few different symbols depending on how far you want to look and how deep. Now, it is a very common theme that deities will have snakes present. She does have snakes present. She's also been seen with a staff. She's also been seen with the torches. She's also been seen with a three-headed dog or three separate dogs with her. If you go more into depth, there's a lot of other symbolism that she's been associated to and with, and I will link that down below for you guys to be able to read as well. Or you can just feel free to go out there and do some research on your own. Now, what is it like being a devotee of Hecate? Being a devotee of Hecate is very demanding, but very rewarding, for the reason being, you get to learn a lot of information about her and who she is, how she works. So, you know, when you're first working with a deity, or you're looking for a deity, or you're talking to other people about finding your deity, you get in this kind of rut where you're either afraid of what the deity or the force of that deity will do with you in correlation with your magic. Now, me personally, I've been with her for so long. I have so much respect for her, but for me, it's like a friendship. Like someone I can always go to and just let it all out, you know what I mean? Or someone who I can call upon whenever I need. And also, within that friend type of relationship, I give things to her on the daily basis. Which leads me into my next part, which I'm going to finish this one out first. So, don't be so overwhelmed. Don't be disrespectful, no matter what deity you're working with. It takes time to build this relationship. Because even if they may have called to you, or you feel like that they are the one that you should go to, remember, baby steps. Don't be jumping and, get by your altar and just show disrespect, which you shouldn't do with any deity that you're trying to work with anyway. So try to keep that in mind. Don't get me wrong, I've had so many instances over my 18-year journey with her where I'd be so frustrated with life. I'm like, I've done everything right. I've been nice to people. I've went out of my way, like, why is this happening to me? And in those moments, I'm so engulfed in everything around me that I can't really see what is the lesson. Where is it? And there's some times where she's felt bad for me and is like, okay, look, this is why. This is it. Here you go. Breathe. And then there's sometimes where it'll take a couple days, a week, maybe a couple weeks. And then it all starts to make sense as to why I was going through this, why I was feeling this, why all of this was hitting me all at once. It was not only to build myself up, but to show me, hey, you're stronger than you think you are. So let me show you why I did this. And a lot of people have problems with that. They have problems with her because she's the type of deity. You're going to learn this lesson. And if you do not learn this lesson, I'm going to repeat this lesson for you until you get it right. And if you don't like that, oh well, you need to learn this lesson. This is something that you need to learn. And you'll notice too, a lot of people will be like, well, I can't work with her because she didn't want to work with me. She didn't want to do what I wanted. Things just never seem to go right. And that's because you weren't wanting to learn the lesson. You wanted things to happen like that instead of seeing what it is about. And no matter what deity you work with, they all have that I'm going to teach you moment. You're going to learn, and no matter if you like it or not. So that's why you'll see a lot of people that'll jump from deity to deity because they expect things to happen like this when in reality deities work on their own time. Spirits work on their own time. Their time is different from our time anyway. And maybe just because you think it should happen like that doesn't mean it should happen like that. And it's so hard to explain to some people because they want things to pop up. Either it's because they got into this path because of movies or a TV show or a book, or maybe they were just a fantasy nerd and decided, you know what, I've always felt connected with nature. This makes sense for me. Then they get in it and they're like, well, nothing's going right. Nothing's happening. You've got to realize this is a path. It's not something that you're just going to sit there and be like, okay, well, I threw some spices together and did this. Why isn't it working? Well, if you're doing your work and you're not respecting who you're working with, or it is not the time for that spell to really be engaged, it's not going to work. So then you're sitting there thinking, well, my deity doesn't love me. I'm going to move on and find one that works for me. So you go out, you find a deity, they work with you the first time, and you're like, oh, I love it. And maybe that's the deity for you. Maybe that was why she was doing that, to push you to that path. Because Hecate is the queen of the crossroads. She is the one where people will come to her for knowledge and just to figure out what is going on, what path that they should take, that in this like 3 to 4 centered road, which normally it's 3 because there's a lot of 3 symbolism with Hecate. But some will go as far as using, well, you can go to a 4-way crossroad or a 3-way crossroad. It just depends on the person and the practice that they believe. Excuse me. I'm going to take a drink because I am parched. So basically what I'm trying to say is, take your time. If you feel like you cannot invest the time, Hecate is not the one for you. She's going to cut through the bullshit. She's going to cut through your ego. And she's going to bring you down a couple notches. She's going to break you down to build you right back up. And it's hard for people to get that because everybody nowadays wants instant gratification. They want it now. They don't want to put in the work. They want to find someone to give them the answers. They don't want to go out and search for the answers of their deity or find out, what's their symbolism or what's their stone or what kind of offering do they like. They just want somebody to tell them what to do. And I hate to tell you, Hecate is not that type of woman. She's the type that you need to work. You need to show her that you love her and you care enough that you're going to put the time to invest in it. It's almost like being married to someone. Like, if you don't put in the time, why would I give you the time of day? It's like that in any type of relationship, not only just in a marriage, but in relationships in general. So when you build a relationship or you pick a deity, please make sure that you're willing to go and have those sacrifices that you're willing to make for that deity. Now, since we talked about sacrifices, let's go into what kind of sacrifices does Hecate want. Now, Hecate, for me in my personal practice, I've done blood sacrifices, I've done energy sacrifices, I've done sex sacrifices, where I'm sitting there and I'm building my energy up and up and up, and then the final release and she gets everything with it. I've had it in group settings, and I've also had it in my own personal settings. I've had times where I felt like I've been taken over during certain events, and I was just there for the ride. Now, you will have this, depending on what you're comfortable with, and depending if you actually have enough trust. Your deity, the spirits you work with, can come in you and use you as a conduit. And that's something that you are really going to have to just sit there and focus on and ask yourself, is this something that I want? Is this something that I'm ready to do? And you should do this with any type of deity, any type of spirit. This is the conversation that you should have before you jump out and do any kind of magical work whatsoever. I'm not the person to tell you, well, it's your path, do what you want. You're coming here to my channel, you're coming here to learn about her, and you want to know from me what my personal experiences is. This is it. Not everybody's going to agree with me. Everybody's got their own journey. Everybody's got their own story. But I'm giving you the knowledge that's been bestowed upon me with my relationship with Hecate. And that's all I can personally do. Because us as humans, we're all about a life experience. And that's what we go on. That's what we base our emotions off of. That's what we base our knowledge off of. Until we learn some new information and we move on. So, now as far as offerings to Hecate, by the way, there is more sacrifices to Hecate. These are just the ones that I personally use within my practice. I've also got different snake skins that I've offered to her as well, and things of that nature. You can go online, you can find all these. There might be a time where it's not the list the same as mine. She may ask you for, hold on one second. She may come to you and say, you know what, I've done this for you, and I've done this for you. I want this certain type of fish. Which, by the way, Hecate does have a certain type of fish. I can't remember the exact name of it because I love her to death and I'll do anything for her. But having that fish in my altar in my bedroom, I just can't do. So that's why during the summer months, I will go out, I will get the fish, and then I will bury that fish and consecrate it within her name and give it to her in that sort of form or fashion. Because there's just, it's a certain type of fish, and anybody who knows anything about fresh fish, and it has to be fresh. That's how she prefers it when I do it. And after so many days and it gets hot, and no, it's just, I'm not trying to have my room smell like fish. God love her. Another offering that I normally give her, like I said, was snakeskin. I've also gave her wine. I've gave her blood. I've gave her food, energy, and, you know, by word of mouth. I talk about her constantly. When people come up to me and they're like, well, what's your path? I was like, well, this is my deity, and technically I'm Hellenistic, but I've kind of had my hands in each of the other religions because I believe that you should gain knowledge and study and work, and you're always learning something new, and maybe you're going back to something that you didn't really think you needed, and now you're going back to something basic. So, always keep in mind, your journey is your own journey. You do whatever you want, please whatever you want, but when you're working with deities, spirits, ancestors, whatever it is, at least have the respect for them to do the research and to know what they like. Now, for instance, Athena. Athena loves things that are handmade. There was one night, my husband was sitting here, he was making something handmade for Athena, and I'm sitting there, and I just get this voice say, I want one. I'm like, I knew who it was right away. It was Miss Hecate. And I'm like, shit. Because I am a bad sculptor. And eventually, I think after I made it, it was like 2 weeks later, the arm fell off because my daughter thought it was like a little play doll. And I was like so mad. But then I was like, I didn't even want to make this thing in the first place. But I did it because that's something that she wanted. So, you'll have things like that where you'll feel like either you're going to make it or you're going to go somewhere and you're going to be like, oh, she would love that on her altar, or this is something that she would like, or, there's been times where I haven't been able to do offerings for a couple months on end, either due to financial responsibilities or just for the reason being that I just didn't have the time between family life, kids, and everything I was doing within my community. I was just like at wit's end. And I would talk to her every night, like, I know I haven't got it yet. Just give me some time. Work with me. I'm going to get it. And then I would go out and buy a $50 bottle of wine. Or I would go out and buy the fish that she wanted. Or I would place some food with her. Or I would have a drink with her and have a conversation and meditate around her altar. And just give her as much as I possibly could until I could get something more materialistic for her. Now, some have asked, well, does she work well with other deities? As far as I go, I stick more, when I work with her with other deities, I stick more into the Greek pantheon. Now, as far as how she may be with you guys and your path and certain deities, I see her more as being open than some deities would. Just for this reason being, she is the queen, the mistress of witchcraft. Okay, so there may be some things that she's not strong on that you may need another deity. Plus, also, she is the crossroads. She is the gateway, the keeper of the keys, which keys are also another symbolism of Hecate. They're 9 keys, and there's a lot of great books about it. There's a whole, paragraph about the 9 keys of Hecate. And for me, every time I read it, to me, it's like an ascension level. So those are things that you can go out there and you can actually look in for when you're researching for Hecate as well. What kind of incense does she like? Now, with me, I try to do more of a feminine, but there's some times where I want to work both the feminine and masculine aspects, because she does have both of the aspects. Like, she's very strong-willed. She commands, you to come to her. But she's also very feminine. She's not going to bullshit you, but she's going to take care of you at the same time. And that's another thing about her. She is one to take care of the people that are her followers. Even when you're messing up, she still loves you. Even when you don't know why things are going the way that they're going, she still loves you. It's not that she doesn't love you. It's just that she wants to help you grow. And it's kind of like having that friend that always wants to see you do better. So they sit there and set up all this stuff for you to do, and then you just have your breakdown, and they're like, okay, look, it'll be all right. This is what we're doing. Let's go on. Let's keep going. Now, Hecate does have her certain stones. You can look them up as well. She does have her own little symbol. It's almost like, to me, whenever I see her symbol, it's almost like a little squiggly maze. And there's 3 points also, because 3 is a very high representation of Hecate, encased within a circle. Now, sometimes that circle is a serpent. It just really depends on where you're going with it and what it is you like. There's a few other things, like you'll see a lot of people who do follow Hecate. They will have keys with them, or key pendants, or a key on their body somewhere that has been tattooed. And this is a representation that they have given her, that she has given them, her key. This is your key to your gateway. And it's also a symbolism that she walks with them as well. Doesn't mean you have to get it tattooed. You don't have to get it tattooed. You can get a key, whatever. You can make your own key. It's whatever. Now, for me personally, it wasn't till probably about this year after a meditation session that I had a key presented to me. This key was like no other key I've ever seen before, but it had kind of like the skeleton base, you know, with the little lock, but the top part is what was intricate and different than anything I had seen. So that is something eventually I will be adding onto my body in permanent ink as a devotion to her and to thank her for that key. Now, many ask, why keys? Well, she is the type of deity to reveal the truth bearer. The torches to shine the light in the darkness, to show you the things you may not see. Now, this is a double-edged sword because there is a lot of things we don't want to see, either because it's going to hurt us or it's going to break the trust of someone that we have around us. Or it's going to reveal something that may be good. I mean, it's not always, you know, doom, but just remember, don't ask for things that you really don't want to know. And you've heard that saying before, but that saying is very true with Hecate. Don't ask anything if you really don't want the truth. If you don't really want it shown, don't ask. One thing that you will find out about the followers of Hecate is a lot of them. By the way, if you hear snorting, that's my pug behind me. So I just wanted to let you guys know, since you have to be so loud. Anyway, like I was saying, what was I saying? That's so horrible. Like when you have your pug and he snorts in the back of your head back here. Where are you, Puggy Wuggy? You guys can't see him, but I can see him. He matches in with the background. What was I saying? Let's see. We went over pretty much a lot. Let me pause this real quick. Okay, so we were talking about the 9 keys. So, keys are doorways, like I said, to the things that you may not want to know. And they're also doorways to different spiritual realms. They're also doorways to different higher levels of awareness that are imparted. And I'm pretty sure that each different deity has their own thing, their own way of communicating. I know for a fact that Hecate is very prominent on coming through with dreams. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of symbolism that I'm like, what's that mean? I've had over the last couple years just different images pop into my mind. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. I can't find nothing about it. And then it'd be like 2 or 3 days later, or someone would send me an article about something and like, hey, have you seen this? And I'm like, oh my God, that's what I've seen. So, you know, there's a lot of foresight, a lot of prophecy that happens there. And that's partially from her mother, who is very, she was an oracle. She was an oracle of the night. So it kind of goes in with it. And it wasn't that long ago I actually had her mom reach out to me. So that's kind of like where I'm at in my own personal journey. It's kind of like where I'm getting the mother, the daughter, and we'll see where that goes. But what else can I tell you about Hecate? Now, as far as does she require any certain clothing, look, she wants you to be comfortable. The only thing that she really cares about, from my perspective, is you being serious enough about her. Now, some people may feel like, well, I need to dress this way. This is what she wants. I want to make her happy. And that's fine. You can do that. You can be butt naked for all I care. As long as you do it respectfully in your rituals and you're respectful towards her. That's all I really care about. Now, let's go into some of the things that have to deal with the negativity that Hecate gets. I've touched on it a little bit with, you know, she is very stern. She does want you to learn things, but she can help you do some fucking awesome shit. I've done some things that even make me go, huh, I could do that. You know what I mean? And it's not that I didn't have the faith that I could, but it was one of those things where it was like, all right, you got my attention. That's pretty cool. And, I'll start working on that. And to me, that's my hint of, okay, you already passed this stage. Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to show you that you can do it. Now I want you to recreate it. And once you recreate it, then we'll move on. So it's kind of like having a teacher, but in more of a spiritual sense. What are some of the oracle signs Hecate is calling to you? This is one of the major things people always ask. How do I know if Hecate is calling to me? One, first off and foremost, you will know that Hecate is getting a hold of you because you will hear her, you will see her, and you will start getting symbols like the following. You will start seeing black dogs or random dogs coming up to you. This is a sign of Hecate. You will start having different premonition feelings, like someone's always watching. Now, it's not always Hecate, but if you have more than one of these, then yeah, it's going to be Hecate. You've started to notice that you're drawn to more like keys. There's something about keys that fascinates you. The ability to lock any door or open any door, whether it be your mind or a physical door in itself, is just something. Either that or you've always loved like old style keys. That's another way to tell maybe that she's calling to you as well. Like I said, snakes are another one. But that is, like, when you get snakes, that's like a hard interpretation. That's like getting, let me go into this story and I'll tell you. And this will kind of go into her mother, the symbolism I got for her. The symbolism I got from her mother was an olive crown and a woman holding it like this. Okay? And then the second thing I got was a star with the shooting symbol coming out. I'm like, okay, they're in the Greek pantheon and there's a shooting star. Which one has a shooting star? Now, I've had some people tell me, oh, well, that's just Hecate. But the more I looked in it, I felt more connected with her mom. Like that was her mom coming to me, like saying, hey, I'm here to help you too as well. You feel free to use me. So that's what I'm talking about. Like when it comes with symbolisms, you're going to get things like that. Maybe it's a flash of mind. Maybe it's something in a dream. Maybe it's something somebody said. Maybe it's an image that just randomly pops up on your feed that would have never been on your feed any other day. And you're like, that's weird. I wonder if I need to communicate with her or something's going on. Those are the symbolisms that I've had. I've had different time symbolisms as well. But when you get more into that, to me, that's different. Unless there's a certain number, and then that lets me know, hey, my deity. How to know that this deity in you is the right one. Research them. That's what you have to do. Research them. Talk to people who's out there who actually practices with that deity. It's a hard fine line. I'm not saying if that deity chooses you, that's it. It's Thunderdome. Like, you live by the deity, you die by the deity. Deity. I know it's going to come out like that, but you guys get what I'm saying. So, just make sure you're comfortable. Don't make, well, I'm a devotee or this just because you like the way it sounds. Just because we like the way it sounds doesn't mean that it's always the right terminology, so to speak. So just make sure that you word your stuff right. Like, hey, I feel drawn to you. I feel like you're connecting with me. Let's see where this goes. Worst comes to worst. If it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul. We both can go our separate ways. And most deities will respect that. And even Hecate herself. Now, there are some deities who they want you right then. They don't want you second guessing it. And, that's up to you if that's the type of personality you like. Like I said, each deity has their own way of doing things. They have their own personality. So if you like someone to tell you what to do and how to do it and how hard to do it, maybe they're a deity for you. If you like someone who likes to teach you things, even when you don't want to be taught, Hecate may be the right one for you. So, hopefully you guys had fun today. I had fun making this video. Now, I'm pretty sure some people may not agree with me on everything, but that's the great thing about the path, is it's your own path and it's your own experiences. So, if I had to give you any parts of wisdom when working with Hecate and spell work, I would have to say make sure that you know what type of spell that you're wanting to do. She is great with revenge work. She's great with protection. She's great with pretty much a variety of things. And another good thing that you can use, Hecate for is a gateway for communication for other deities and other spirits. Just remember to be respectful. Don't just use her because that's the only way you know what to do. Treat it like you would a friend, like you're supposed to treat a friend, like a good friend, like be there, say thank you, leave a little gift occasionally, you know what I mean? Just to show that you care. And give them moral respect. And you'll get it back in return. You'll get so much in return. There has been so much that I've grown over the 18 years that I've been with her. It's amazing what time can do. And it's also amazing what a spiritual journey through that time can be like. So, my advice to you guys is, check her out. Don't listen to all the bullshit and the hype. Just get the feel of her for yourself. Because it's all about life experience. But if she's trying to teach you something, sit back and be like, okay, what would be the purpose of this? Why would she be wanting to tell me this? What does she want me to learn? Because she's never going to make you do something that makes no sense. It's always for you, and it's always to help you ascend to a higher plane of existence within yourself and the universe. So always remember that. And on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings, and all that fun jazz. Make sure to share it with your friends and to support us, because we don't only support the community, but we support everyone out there every day working their butts off to get through this world one day at a time. All right, guys.